We are excited to welcome our second main platform speaker for today.
Ya, kita akan menyaksikan main platform kita yang ketujuh.
Good morning. Selamat pagi. I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't tell you how excited I am. I got to bring my wife and my beautiful baby to Bali. And I think the only thing more beautiful than this island and Indonesia are the people sitting in these seats. Thank you so much for welcoming me here. God bless you all. Thank you. I'm here to tell you a story that seems so incredible and so impossible that it could only happen in Los Angeles from Hollywood. And my only hope, Guy Baker talked about your main job is to explain to your clients a complex thing in a simple way. I'm hoping that just as you translate insurance into something comprehensible for your people, I'm hoping that I'll be able to translate something that seems impossible and that has nothing to do with your life into something that you can see definitively is your life. I'm going to show you my crazy life and show you that my story is nothing more than your life, okay? I'm going to start in a really different way.
Madonna immobile, qual piuma al vento, mutta d'accento di pensiero, sempre una mobile, legio droviso, in pianto in riso e menzognero. La donna immobile, qual piuma al vento, mutta d'accento, di pensier, di pensier, di pensier. È sempre misero chi adesso affida, chi le confida, mal cauto il cuore, ormai non sentosi felici a pieno, di su quel seno non di bambone. La donna immobile, qual più mal vento, muta d'accento, vai di pensier, vai di pensier.
Fun, yes. Crazy, yes. Stupid. Stupid. That is a voice. That was my voice. That was my voice in a movie. And from a different lifetime, almost, it seems. Because that's what a voice sounds like. And there's a power to your voice. But that was before I understood that a voice without a vision is just noise. What I'm about to do is I'm going to cram what I sometimes take weeks or months to train a company. And I'm going to cram it into an hour and a half. Is that something you guys are willing to let me try and do? Yeah? Boleh? Okay. So what I have learned in Bali is, what is it? Saya bisa. Is that right? For those of you who, like me, don't speak Indonesian or Bahasa Indonesia as a first language, saya bisa means I can. I'm going to ask you to try on this story and remember, saya bisa. This is your story, and I want you all to say throughout, I can. Saya bisa. Okay? We're going to practice. That was a good practice run. Now we're going to do it for real. Saya bisa. I believe you. All right. We're going to learn the 7 secrets to success. Now, they're not a secret because they're in plain sight, but they haven't been put into a place where we can own them properly. That's my job right now, is to break it down so that you can take this back and serve your country, serve your company, serve your God, serve your family. That's why I'm here, is to serve people like you, because you understand the value of serving others. Thank you for that opportunity, because that's my joy, is I get to help you help that many more people. Who wants to learn the 7 secrets of guaranteed success? Is that something you can do? Boleh? Saya bisa, right? Saya bisa. I can learn that. Let's do this. These, my friends, I like these. I was speaking in Singapore, and I saw these 3 beautiful machines. This is, Guy Baker talked about the human potential, your human capital. We are all created in this perfect image of a beautiful, powerful performance machine. Now, whether or not you want to be a Lamborghini or a DeLorean or a Ferrari, I particularly like a Lotus. Because when I grew up, I saw 007 drove a Lotus. So that's what I want to drive. But whoever you want to be, this is who you are. The problem is, this is what many of you look like. It's a parking lot full of beautiful Ferraris, and none of them moving. None of them doing what they were built to do. None of them running at that amazing, powerful capacity of speed and performance. This is what we must avoid. We cannot be a parking lot full of gorgeous machines looking pretty and doing nothing. To know how to use your machine, you must know where you're going. You must have a vision that takes you beyond what you think you can do. You've got to set that GPS and know your vision. That's looking through your windshield. And then we're going to learn about a voice. We're going to learn how that engages your engine. And it revs you up and it takes you to that vision. Those are your 2 keys that you're going to build from. Your vision is where you're going. Your voice is how you get there and use this beautiful machine. Okay? Your victory rests on these 2 twin towers of triumph. Your foundations are your vision and your voice. Unless you have those 2, you have nothing and you go nowhere. The first one, if you don't have this, you have nothing. Your first one is the vision. Now, the theme of this conference is dreams do come true. And that's true. There's a problem, though. Dreams aren't enough. Hopes are not enough. Wishes are not enough. And when I'm coaching CEOs, this is the one that might get me in trouble. Goals are not enough. They all fall short because none of them can give you the strength of what a full and complete vision can do for you. So, can you hear me and learn what a vision is? Ole? Saya bisa? I know you can. Your vision is what we're talking about now. There's wishes and hopes and dreams and goals, and all of them can take you but a short way. And then they fail because they're not enough. I'm going to teach you what a real vision is. Real vision is 4 parts. R-E-A-L, real vision. Real vision involves risk, R. Emotionally engaging passion, E. A. Action. And finally, L. Legacy. What is a real vision? R-E-A-L. Risk. Emotionally engaging. Action. Legacy. This will change your life. You're going to find out why you keep doing a burst of good and then falling short again. It's because we're missing one of these pieces. This is my personal story of finding the power of vision instead of just a voice. And I want you to try on that this is your story. I was performing internationally, professionally, before I even graduated studying how to perform. I was riding the wave of success years, decades before most people who were doing what I was doing would be able to do it. But I lacked vision. I had only a voice. The voice you heard when I started, I was doing this role. It's called the Duke of Mantua from Rigoletto. And it's this prideful, arrogant, self-absorbed, awful man who's so stuck on himself that he can't see past his own nose. That, unfortunately, in many ways, characterized who I was at that time. I was successful in a worldly sense, but I lacked significance. And that's because my vision was lacking entirely. When you drive hard, you got to know where you're going, or you hit a wall. Where there is no vision, people die. I did that performance for the 3rd time professionally on the 2nd continent to a standing ovation. Everyone loved it. But what you didn't know is literally just before I walked on stage, I fought with my girlfriend. And I walked on stage to that standing ovation, and then I walked back out. And as we were driving home in the pitch black, in true darkness, there was no light, no moon, no stars. I was in my car. I wish it was a Lotus Elise, but it's not yet. At that time, I was just in college, but I was still in a fast car going, let's just call it college speed. Very fast. And as I was coming down the freeway in the 680, it was very windy. There was no moon, no lights, no stars. And I found a Dodge Ram, which is a large Texas-sized pickup truck parked in the fast lane of the freeway with no lights on. I hit it hard. That's what it looks like. When you've got a voice, but no vision. Where there is no vision, people die. It took 20 minutes with the jaws of life to cut me out of that car. As I screamed for my life, my girlfriend had to listen as she hoped I would survive. Now, you're going to find I have a rather black sense of humor. I was looking at these pictures and I noticed something. If you look right in the middle there, it says, Die Hard. To me, that was funny. I do die hard. But stubbornness is not enough to take the place of vision. What broken pillars are you trying to build with? Wishing, we all know. You fill one hand with problems and you fill the other hand with wishes. Tell me which one fills up faster. Wishing leaves you empty every time. That's because it lacks risk, emotion, action, or legacy. All right. How about hope? I mean, hope is a wonderful thing, right? I hope I win. Sounds like the lottery to me. Hope and only involves risk, but lacks all the other three components. You have no emotion, you have no action involved, and you absolutely aren't leaving a legacy. Hope dies because it's empty on its own. It's not enough. Depends too much on things that are completely out of your control. Whereas if you are emotionally engaged and fulfilled, if you're doing something that you're passionate about, that gives you a spark and you can carry on. If you don't have all four parts of your vision, if you are not in something so risky you don't think you can do it on your own, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, if you're not in action showing that you believe what you say you believe, and unless you're leaving a legacy, something that's bigger than you, I submit that your life is flatlined. Take it from somebody who's supposed to be dead more than once. Without a vision, people perish. Hope is empty on its own. It's not enough. You must have emotional engagement. Think yourself. Is my vision big enough? Or have I flatlined? Have I flatlined? Am I dead? Or am I going to breathe life back into myself, back into my business, because I know this is not about me. This is about my clients. This is about serving my people. This is about serving my family. This is about taking care of my children and my mother and my father. Right? About helping my nation grow. Every time you see one of these mirrors, I want you to check with yourself and ask yourself, how does this apply to me? Is my vision risky enough? Is it something that's harder than I think I can do on my own? And what am I willing to risk to claim a real vision? Are you trying to build with dreams? Now, I love dreams. A dream is a wish your heart makes. It's wonderful. And dreams do come true. But dreams that come true are connected to something bigger than that. Disney sells dreams, but you better believe they've got these other pieces in place. Disney sells dreams well because they took risks and they did impossible things that everybody said could not happen. Disney is absolutely passionate about what they do, and they are in action every day as a team. And Disney's built a legacy. You know his signature, and he's been dead for decades. That's what a real vision is. A dream alone, it's weak. You have only emotion. That is my girlfriend, who I do not deserve. And that's me broken in body and mind. I took such a beating that it made me hallucinatory. It made me crazy in a lot of ways. It removed all filters. And I was even more obnoxious than before the accident. But she stayed with me. She is my emotional, my passionate engagement. She is what helped me create what was a real vision instead of just a voice on its own. noise, clamoring. Just, it's the love. That's actually the point here. I'm not giving you a motivational speak. I'm not giving you corporate coaching. I'm sharing my story, which I hope by the end you'll realize is your story. Because this is a love story. This is a story of love. And that girlfriend helped me make it past my lack of vision. Ask yourself, where do I lack passion? And does my vision inspire in a passionate way myself and others? I told you, here's the sacred cow. This is where a lot of the hard-driving CEOs get a little uncomfortable. Because goals are what get us there, right? I mean, you've got quarterly goals, you've got annual goals. Most of you are smart enough to have weekly and even daily goals. And guys talking about doing 2 a day. All right, that's a daily goal. Goals are powerful, but left to their own, not enough. Because goals have only action involved. Goals lack the risk. They certainly lack passion in most cases, and I can't think of most goals having much of a legacy because they're so... The whole point of a goal is that it's specific and measurable, and usually people only measure by their own life, not how they affect others. That's the crazy idiot on the other side of the darkness, with only a voice and no vision. My leg was... The engine ended up in my lap in the accident, and it collapsed my femur into itself like a telescope. It broke every bone on my left leg, it broke my left arm, and it gave me brain trauma so severe that it reduced me to the mental capacity of a 2-year-old. My wife might argue whether or not that last part ever changed, but I am grateful to have made it to the other side. That's what happens when you try and walk on a leg that's that broken. But my pride and action alone, see, that's the problem. Most motivational speakers will tell you to be in action and to do the 2 a day and to make the goals, and that's fine. But action without the other pieces kills you. I thought I was ready to leave the hospital, so I got up and wanted to walk on that leg. I've already described to you how broken it was, so I would fall to the ground, and then I'd get back up, and they would try and assure me that I should stay in bed. But I wanted to leave, so I was in action. And breaking my leg over and over again. I actually re-broke my arm on the inside of that. That's a Vail bed where they lock you inside your medical bed. I was trapped again in my own medical bed because they zipped it from the outside so I couldn't hurt myself anymore. That's what action alone will do. It's not enough. Ask yourself, what immediate action is my vision calling me to? Action is important, just not on its own. How is my vision properly focused into taking that daily action, that weekly action? And beyond that, weekly, daily, quarterly, annual action, beyond those goals, does my vision look beyond when I die? Does my vision look beyond my bank account? Does my vision look beyond what I think is important to me and mine? Am I leaving a legacy of service and value? This This, my dear friends, that's my legacy. I'm building for them. And I'm helping you see this is your story. I'm helping you build for yours. This is what a legacy looks like. It's bigger than you. Does my vision reach beyond my lifetime? And does it serve others or just my own way? Am I leaving a lasting, real legacy? Because that's what a real vision is. Remind me, what is a real vision? R? Risk, yes. E? Emotionally engaging, exactly. Very passionate. A, action. Volé, yes. L, and legacy. Very simple, but very, very important. Is your vision real? Ask yourself right now. Or have I flatlined in leaning too heavily into goals, or leaning too heavily into hope, or hoping that one of these pieces is going to be enough? Or is my vision big enough that it's alive? Real vision is the only way to know how to get this machine, this gorgeous sports car that is your life, that is your business, that is who you were created by the Creator to be. Vision is the only way to get to know where you're going to go, and to look beyond your current circumstance high enough that you can keep going no matter what it looks like right now. You can stand the course. My brain trauma was so bad that they shipped me off to a stroke patient home to forget about me, because they were that certain I would never even be able to go home alone, much less live a normal life. I went from the pride of life, working internationally, professionally, to being surrounded by 80-plus-year-old people in a stroke home. The only thing that can see you through something that impossibly discouraging is when you build a vision big enough to look past your current circumstance and see where you should be going. That's the power of a vision. That's the key. Now I understood what my voice was for, was to feed and fuel that vision. That's what you need to find right now. Ask yourself, which of these 4 pieces in my vision is lacking? And how can I shift very easily, but very powerfully, to make a better, stronger, more complete vision with the life that's been entrusted to me? That's your first foundation. The next one is just as important. Remember, right now, we're still beautiful sports cars, and now we know where we're going to go, but we're still sitting in the parking lot. Vision is imperative, but it's only a start. It's one of the 2 pillars. If you have only vision, but no voice, it's just a super good idea that does nothing. Okay, well, we already saw in the beginning, if all we have is voice, but no vision, you're just noise. I told you at the beginning, this is a love story. My favorite book says, if you can do everything, if you are super powerful, if you are super rich, if you are super amazing, if you're super popular, if you're super successful, but you don't have love, you're nothing. This is my love story. This is why I think it's so imperative to have both vision and voice, because without both as a solid foundation, if everything falls over, your victory must rest comfortably and firmly on those 2 pillars of vision and voice. Those are your twin towers of triumph. Your vision and your voice will always lead you to your victory. Can you understand how simple this is? Can? Boleh? Saya bisa. Yes, sir. Yes, you can. And you will. Because you don't need to get hit as hard as I do to learn the same things. That's why I'm here. So I can take the pain and you can get the pleasure out of it. This, my friends, this is the engine of your life. Your voice is the engine that engages you and helps you make it to that vision. Your vision is enough to know where you're going. Your voice is what actuates it to get you there. So get in your head, and whether or not you're a Ferrari or a DeLorean, some people like a Yugo, whatever you want. I'm a Lotus. And I know that I have been fearfully and wonderfully created to live such a powerful life that I make a difference for generations. So we've got the vision. How do we get the voice? It's such a careless, loose way of looking at things, Jason. What do I do? How do I get a voice? What does that even mean? What are you talking about? I'm going to share with you what I've learned. After that first accident, I learned that a voice alone, without love, is just noise. I told you, I'm a slow learner, and I'm rather thick-headed. So I finally learned the vision lesson. But I didn't completely understand the power of my own voice until this happened.
The day of the accident was definitely the worst day of my life. We were actually taking a glass table down to our garage to put in storage, and we had two young boys helping us move, and Jason was on one end, and the kid dropped the table. It cracked all the way up to the top of the glass, leaving a jagged edge that came straight down like a guillotine on Jason's neck and cut his head almost off.
I've never seen anything to the extent of this patient's injury. It was a huge gash to his neck, basically extending from right below his ear down to his chest, and actively bleeding blood.
Is this audible bleeding?
That's what we got. There's an entity in surgery which we call audible bleeding. That means that the bleeding is so rapid that you hear it. At this point, it wasn't about saving his voice, it was about saving his life.
Jason feels like if he can't sing, life isn't worth living for, because music is such the core of who he is. They didn't think Jason was going to make it.
Mrs. Black.
I was met by the doctor, and he's prepping me, and Tasha, you gotta be strong, and you gotta stay strong for him, and you gotta tell him you love him, and anything else you want to tell him.
Dr. Khalili saved Jason's life. But for Jason, survival is bittersweet. His right arm's permanently paralyzed, and all he can do is make a rasping whisper. His greatest gift is useless.
That looks like something that only happens on TV. That looks like something that has nothing to do with your life. But I submit that is your life. This is your life. Anyone who doesn't have a real vision, everyone who's not working from a place of love and recognizing that legacy is the only piece that really mattered, how much you served others with it. Anyone who doesn't understand the power of their own voice. I submit you're bleeding out on the table. You may even have flatlined. You may be dead on arrival. I I'm supposed to be dead, plain and simple. I know I don't deserve to be here. I don't deserve the beautiful family that I have. I don't deserve to serve wonderful people like you. But by the grace of God, I still stand. Again, I know you're not clapping for me. I used to think it was about me. You're clapping for you because you can hopefully see in this story, this is your story. This is a love story. And this is what's going to make a difference to the people you love. That's why this is so important to me. Your vision, imperative. Your voice, it's obvious. That's how I made my living. I was well invested in my voice. I was moving into this beautiful new home with that girlfriend that had so graciously offered to marry me. We got married, we moved to Los Angeles to pursue the dream. I'm moving the last piece out of our townhome into our new LA-sized home. And that's when the glass fell into my neck and cut my head halfway off, paralyzing my right arm, my right vocal cord, and my right diaphragm. I awoke to be told by the best hospital in the world, we've never seen anyone survive anything like this. You should just be grateful to be alive. By the way, you're never going to whisper again. Now, you've already seen, I've been honored to serve on 4 continents at this point in speaking. But this glass accident, it stole my ability to sing. In the beginning, you heard how I used to be able to sing. But that voice wasn't the power of who I was made to be. A real voice, just like those other things, hopes and wishes and dreams, they can all masquerade as a vision. They can all pretend to be what only a vision can be. What I showed up with, what you saw parading around at the beginning, acting like a buffoon. That was just parading as what a real voice is. I want to teach you what a real voice is so you can truly serve people. So you can really live into your vision. A voice is 3 parts. Root, your team, and your word. There's only 3 parts. Your root, your team, and your word. That's the practical aspect of what a voice is. You don't have to sing opera to have a powerful voice. You've already got it in you. The very first piece that affects all of us is our team voice. Now, that's the voice of the closest circle around you. You've always heard, you want to become a millionaire, hang out with billionaires, right? You want to become top of the table, you hang out with people that are top of the table. You hang out with people like Jerry, 400 and 400 people. You can hang out with Sandro and Guy and Bruce Etherington. I mean, that's the genius of what you're getting here. Is you just show up and you get to pick up pieces of icons in the industry. That's a team voice. The voice that you hear outside all the time, whether or not that's gentlemen like this, or whether or not that might be a more negative voice from your past with your father or your mother saying you're stupid. You can never do that. You're a failure just like your parents. You're too poor, you're too stupid, you're too ugly, you're too fat. That's a team voice too. You must control the voices you allow to come into your circle. Good and bad. It says, in my favorite book, it says, he who walks with the wise grows wise, but a companion of fools suffers harm. Whoever you're hanging out with is going to bring you up or take you down. Guaranteed. It's just a law. Your team voice is what you're hearing all the time. Now, we get these wonderful events where we get a single impact, but it's just as critical, I would say more so, to control what you're hearing every single day. Get tapes, get books. I mean, these guys have crazy great books. These guys have DVDs and CDs literally right on the other side of that door that you can buy, and take them home with you. They can speak into you on a daily basis. On my website, I've partnered with a company that gives a daily, a recurring, almost a radio style format of national bestsellers, of New York Times bestsellers, critical thinking business magnates. Whether or not you're reading books or listening to DVDs or going on iPods or going to my website to link, whatever it is, feed yourself daily. Feed good things to your body. Feed good things to your mind. Your team voice is critical. This, I told you, I learned slowly, but I've learned more through this woman and her love than anything else in my life. This is what my team voice looks like when you've got no voice. When the best in the world in Beverly Hills says, you'll never even whisper again, much less sing. You have to count on your team voice. You have to count on the voices that you're piping into your own consciousness. This is what the best team voice I've ever heard sounds like.
When I arrived at Cedars-Sinai Hospital, I was immediately met by doctors who instructed me to tell Jason everything I wanted him to know. And especially that I loved him before he went into surgery. I was relieved to see his face and that he was alive. The whole drive to the hospital, I wondered if I would ever see him alive again. The last words I said to Jason were, "I love you, and I'll be with you soon." The most important thing Jason wanted me to get across to the doctors was that he was a singer and to please be careful with his vocal cords. One of the hospital's social workers counseled and comforted me as she helped me contact family members. Not having any relatives at all in the area was a long, lonely, agonizing wait like none other in my life. Waiting to hear if my husband had lived or died. Many hours later, as I lay in the fetal position in the cold hospital hallway, the doctor came out and he sat next to me and he said, "Tasha, I have good news for you. Jason is alive. I want you to remember this moment forever and remember that no matter what the outcome is, he lived." Gosh. Those words had such a profound impact on me. It was so surreal that I would even be hearing those words. An hour ago, I was moving into my new home with my love, and now this. The doctor explained to me all the things that could be wrong with Jason, and they wouldn't know for the next 48 hours if he would even survive the surgery. Finally, I was able to go into the intensive care unit to see him. The room was dark and freezing cold. The only thing I could hear in the room were the machines keeping him alive. To me, this was the most lonely, cold, darkest moment I've ever experienced. Jason didn't look like himself. His face was 3 times larger than normal. His skin was ghostly white, and he looked lifeless. I kept waiting for him to open his eyes and comfort me and make me feel better and tell me everything was going to be okay. But after a few breaths, I realized he wasn't even breathing on his own. It was the machines making every breath for him.
To my wife, ask yourself, what voices am I allowing in my inner circle? What team voice is speaking every day into me? Are they people that love you like that? Are they people that share your vision? The people in your team. What do they say about who you are? What do your team voice about what you're doing? What do your team voice say about what you have and where you're going? This is so critical. That's the first piece of what your voice is your team voice. The next one is your root. Your root is, it's that thing deep inside you. It's the voice that even when you're not speaking, speaks to you. Whether or not you want to call it your gut or your intuition or the Holy Spirit or whatever it is that you want to assign that name to, your root voice is the one that, regardless of circumstance, is your true north. It tells you what you should and shouldn't do. You know that you know that you know that you know. That's your root voice. And so many of us go astray because we listen and ignore our root voice. You must follow it. And it has to be in perfect alignment with your team and your root and your word. All three together create an impossible to stop force of what a real voice is. You've already seen this gorgeous lady. She explains, not with her words, but with who she is, what root voice looks and sounds like. This is my beloved wife, Tasha Nicole.
I was grateful to have Jason alive, but I was devastated to hear that he wouldn't be able to speak or even whisper to me again. Especially because he made his living as a singer. I'd only known him as a singer. I fell in love with him because of his talent and his voice. We went from realizing our biggest dream to living our worst nightmare in an instant. In that instant, Jason's right arm, right vocal cord, and right diaphragm were paralyzed. I kept thinking, Jason is a singer, and now he can't even talk. His singing career is over. Our lives changed unexpectedly and permanently in that instant. During Jason's hospitalization and recovery, I went through the motions of daily living in a state of shock, just day by day doing what had to be done. As the one making all of the decisions, I had to face $250,000 worth of medical bills. The new LA-sized mortgage we weren't sure how we were going to pay for in the first place. The loss of half our income and the uncertainty about our future. I guess you could say we were a classic example of the young couple starting out without no insurance. With financial support from music and theater companies, the hospital bills were paid and we managed to survive financially. We settled into a routine of work and rehabilitation, learning to adjust to our new circumstances. When I say Jason had no voice, I mean it literally. You couldn't hear him above a whisper. Once home, I'd sometimes forget that and I'd call across the house with a question, and of course he couldn't call back with an answer. So we developed a little system where he would whistle up to signal yes and down to signal no. We still do that to this day. Then one day, 6 months later, I heard him say,
she got to hear me say, I love you. That's how the story began. That's how the story continues. And God willing, that's how my story ends. This is a love story. And that's why you can know that this is your story. Because I'm not special. I'm not better than you. And I'm not smarter than you. And I'm certainly not more powerful or prestigious or popular or rich than most of you. And so if God would do that for me, what would He do for you? If you have that strong, firm vision locked in on risk beyond what you think you can handle, emotionally, passionately engaged in taking action and leaving a legacy beyond what you are, beyond your own life, and if you take on this voice, you're watching your team voice, you're intentionally pumping into yourself the right messages, the right vision, the right nutrients for what you've been called to be. And you're following your root voice. You ask yourself, what's the only missing piece here? Word. Your word is your own voice. It is your literal spoken word. Many of you have read Napoleon Hill, and he talks about all kinds of wonderful strategic things to do to create wealth. Think and grow rich, right? But Napoleon Hill, beyond think and grow rich, is speaking the right things. You must speak the truth over your life. You have to own who you are and say, not what you've heard from the past or what you might believe from faulty sources, but what you know your truth to be. Maybe not what you even know that yourself, you may not know right now how to fully actualize your vision. You may not be fully who you know you've been created to be, but you still speak out things that are not as though they are. When I was on my bed bleeding to death, I knew that I was supposed to be here for you today. My voice is your voice. My vision is to serve you. This is a love story. I love you. I love you. Because my root knew that I knew that I knew. And here's the thing. Hopefully I know you are. You're bright enough and clever enough not to have to bleed out, to shift, not to have to literally lose your voice to recognize the value of your own spoken word. I am powerful. I am loving. I am successful. I am abundant. These are not Jason Black. These are you saying this. Because I can. Saya bisa. That's right. That is your own voice. There's a reason you're here right now. And it's to get this message so that you can take this home and claim your calling. Vision and voice come together to make a beautiful, perfect package to lead you to your victory. Your own spoken word is crazy important. I don't care who your team is. I don't care what the root voice is that you're ignoring in your life. If you don't speak out life over yourself, over your own business, over your own family, it all falls. Because the part that matters is you choosing your life. Your word changes everything. As a matter of fact, your word makes your world. Your word creates your world. Do you hear me? That, you can see 20 or 30 staples in my throat as they stapled my neck shut because I was bleeding out so fast. It severed both jugular veins. 45 minutes later, still bleeding audibly. And they had to staple me shut. Don't wait for something like that to happen to you before you can own what a real voice is. What word am I voicing about who I am? What word am I voicing about what I can do? What word am I voicing about what I have, about who I am, about what I'm up to? I pray that if you take nothing else from this, you take that your spoken word, not your thoughts, not your hopes, not even your vision, you must speak out over yourself. I can. Sayabisa. Sayabisa. That's your vision and your voice put together. Making a victory. Not waiting for it. Claiming it. This is your life, not mine. This is your story, not mine. This is your voice. It's what it looks like. When you've got a vision that owns all of those pieces, risky, emotionally engaging, actionable, and in legacy leaving. And when you finally realize that you've got all the pieces in front of you to have a voice that engages that vision and helps it come into the real world, nothing can stop you. You get off of your deathbed again. And you get to speak in front of thousands of servant leaders. You get to make a difference on a world stage. That's what I got to do. Because I realized that my voice was so much more than that stupid clanging noise you heard at the beginning with no love. This is a love story. And this is your story of victory. You heard. I can't sing like I used to. It's a fact. I will never sing again. But you know what? It was also a fact that I was supposed to be in that stroke patient home to be forgotten about, wasn't it? It was also a fact that I had to relearn to walk, if ever, properly. It was also a fact that I should have bled out. I've learned to start ignoring facts. Start believing the truth. And the truth is, I will sing and make music with all my soul. Awake, O harp and lyre, for I will awaken the dawn. I will sing his praises among the nations. I'll praise him among the peoples, because that's who I am. I'm here to make a difference for you. And so I can rise from the ashes of certain defeat in new life, rising in victory. This is your story. Ask yourself, where have you believed the facts of failure instead of owning the voice of victory and remembering the truth of who you are? I'll never sing again. Or will I? Flatline. Some of you might be there right now, but ask yourself, how can I rise again like a phoenix from the ashes with my own voice, following my own vision, knowing that I'm called to greater than this? My life has just begun. It doesn't matter how bad the trauma. I will rise like a phoenix. This is your song, Saya Bisa. Here, through the morning air, I pass the fire of the dawning sun. A phoenix on the rise, wings of strength and grace. I've come to take my place. I'm a chosen one. I'm a phoenix on the rise, and I'm ready to fly. I'm a phoenix on the rise, and I'm ready to fly. This is your song. Now I'm reborn in the fire. The ashes fall away. I circle higher, higher. A phoenix on the rise. My new life begun. Now it's my horizon. I'm a chosen one. I'm a phoenix on the rise, and I'm ready to fly. I'm a phoenix on the rise. Don't believe the facts. Go to the truth. The water from the well, a taste of paradise, a legend to tell. I'm a phoenix on the rise, and I'm ready to fly. I'm a phoenix on the rise, and I'm ready to fly. Hallelujah. I'm a phoenix on the rise, on the rise. Praise you. Hosanna. You're clapping for yourself. Thank you. I know you're clapping for yourselves. You're clapping because you know this is your story now. This isn't the Jason Black story. Who cares about him? This is my story, isn't it? This is a love story about you to your clients, you to your family, you to your countries. That's what this is. Here's what we're going to do. We're cramming so much into this, but I think it's important. You now know the power of your voice. Yes? Yes? You can now understand it. Yes, Saya Bisa? I can. All right, here's what we're going to do. This side, you're team 1. The middle here, you're team 2. You're team 3. Saya Bisa? Good. Root voice. You're my root, okay? Ken? Root voice says, good. All right. That's your only job. Ken. Yes? Good. Over here, that's your root. Everything depends on your root being strong. Good. Right? You guys are just as important. You guys are the freedom, okay? In music, the root is the beginning of the chord. And the fifth, and that's what you're going to be, is the freedom of the chord. Your freedom comes from your team voice, right? Remember? You're my team, okay? Right? Voice. You say voice. Voice. Good. So, hear voice. Both at the same time. Hear voice. Hear voice. Louder. Saya bisa. Hear voice. Come. Yes. Voice. Good. Love it. Now you guys have the easy, important part, okay? They've got it locked. They've got it locked. You guys have the best part. Ready? Mine. Okay? Hear my voice. Okay? I'm going to give you the note. We're going to go. Hear voice. Hear my voice. Hear my voice. All of you, keep going. Hear my voice. Hear my voice. Ready? Go. Ah, beautiful. Watch this. Hear my... No, come on. Hear my voice. Hear my... What just happened? I'll tell you what happened. Your own spoken voice, the my voice, the word voice. The shortest space you can go in music is a half a step. There is nothing smaller than that in music. Half a step. The difference between dum da da, pretty, dum da da, half step. That's the power of your own voice. That's the difference you make. No matter how strong they are, if you don't know your voice and speak it out properly, that falls. Okay? So, now we're going to skip forward, but that was important, yes? Okay. Your own word is the most important part of that chord. Now, I'm cramming so much in, so we're going to go fast, fast, fast. 7 secrets to success we've already learned. Everything rests on the foundation of your vision and your voice, yes? So now you've got a car. You need to be hyper laser focused, and you can cut through steel with a laser focus. The focus technique is what helps you drive the car once you've got a vision and you're slamming down the gas. If you don't steer, everything falls off. I'm going to teach you a focus technique very quickly. This is the steering wheel on your Ferrari. Ready to learn? Go. This is what happens when you have vision and voice and no steering. You deserve better than this, and so do your clients. You don't want to hit a brick wall. Let's get where we want to go on purpose. Fear or faith? Every single breath you take in your life, you are in fear or you are in faith. You get to choose. And even if last breath you chose poorly and you were in fear, you can choose to directly engage it and instead walk in faith. That's the F. F-O-C-U-S. Faith. Order. Choice. Unique skill set. And service. Those come together into a powerful steering wheel that can turn any life around. Ask yourself, what do I avoid? Because that's usually the simplest way to find, what am I afraid of? What am I avoiding right now? Is it making those cold calls? Is it asking for the referrals? Is it the sale before the sale? What am I not doing right now? Am I not bothering to set goals because I'm afraid I won't make them? Engage it. Be in faith. Believe that you're bigger than you are, and you'll become so. Faith versus fear. Faith, order, choice, unique skill set, and service. That's your focus. You'll note, faith versus fear is where everything starts. It's where everything ends. You're either in it or you're not. Play to win. What action will you commit to right now to show that you're not going to be afraid of that anymore? Whatever it was that you had in your head, what action counters that? How can I show that despite the fear, I'm in action? Next one is order. You must be in proper order. And again, I can do a 3-day seminar on each one of these pieces, and you can get more of the details in products and links and stuff on my website, but we're just going to knock them out so you can at least have something to steer with before we walk out. Order, you must prioritize your life. Even with faith and all your unique skill sets and all the amazing pieces you've got, it's not enough, okay? Choice. This is your pivot point for everything. This is the tiniest piece that takes everything off course if it's wrong. Your personal choice makes every bit of difference. This is called personal accountability. Personal accountability. I spoke in, I think it was Malaysia. And I spoke from the stage, and I wasn't allowed to discuss faith at all from the stage. And an hour and a half into this presentation, I finished, and it was a standing ovation. Everybody loved it. And a young gentleman came to me, and he said, I love all of your stuff. I'm going to make a lot more money because I learned what you taught me. Tell me something you didn't tell anybody else that I can build my business with. What's stronger? He said, what's the one thing? What's the main thing that will change everything in my life? How can I be faster, stronger, and better than all of my competitors? I said, you sure you want to hear it? He said, yeah, tell me. I said, well, my own personal experience. All the things I've told you are powerful and will take you somewhere. You want to know the single 2 points that change everything in your life? I personally have experienced, I said, look, the 2 things that change everything in your life are believing in Jesus, and that shut him down. And I said, personal accountability. Those 2 things will change anything and everything in your life. Personal accountability. Choice is everything. Personal choice. What saves a man is to take a step, and then another step, and then another. You must be in action. Just walk forward. Make a new choice. Because your choice is what is your voice. That's where you find it. That's where you own it. Your unique set point. I wish I had more time to cover it, but who's this guy? Anybody heard of him? Tiger Woods. That's right. The great Kung Fu star, right? Does Kung Fu? No? Oh, that's this. Who's this guy? He's Bruce Lee, right? Huge basketball star, right? Oh, no, that's this guy. Sorry. Anybody know this guy? Michael Jordan, yeah. Does he sing like him? No. They're all amazing, world-class performers. But they're not trying to be somebody else, and they're not trying to do something they weren't created to do. This is part of my family. I'm the eldest of 8 children, and they've had a few children themselves. And I have 6 beautiful children, 2 adopted, 4 by blood. You can see mine in the middle there. That's what makes me unique. That's my unique skill set. Comes from that. From leading 7 younger siblings, and now 6 of my own children. It helps me to come to you and lead a large group in love because I care about you. Ask yourself, what is my unique set point? What things have I been gifted to do? By the way, this will go a long way. You take this back to your office, I promise you, you'll double your sales. Every time you're doing something, is this my job? Better question. Should it be? Only do things that only you can do. Right? Am I the only one that can do this? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. Etc., etc. Service. Look. Those 2 foundations of vision and voice are exactly that. There's something you can build on. But you'll note in this steering wheel, the 2 pieces that rest on the foundations are F, your faith, and S, your service. Neither of which have anything to do with me. F is looking to your Creator, beyond yourself. S is service, looking to the created, to your fellow human beings. How can I serve them? That's what a real life of legacy looks like. It starts with faith and it ends in service. You can close more business in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years trying to get people interested in you. That's Dale Carnegie. I think he knows a little bit about making some money, wouldn't you agree? Service is what life is about. Service is profitable. Service will bring you peace of mind. It brings goodwill. It brings friendship, relationships, referral business. It brings you a competitive edge. My favorite book says, one man gives freely and yet gains even more, but another withholds unduly and comes to poverty. A generous man will prosper. He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed. That's what you do for a living. That's why you make so much money. Because you're serving others with your business. What a wonderful business you have. What an opportunity to thrive as you serve others. Mary might know who that guy is. That's Martin Luther King. He says everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Remember, I told you this is a love story. It started on me, but it ends where it belongs, and that's on you. Love, service. That's, my friends, what this is about. What is your service? Because this is mine. That's my baby girl. I got to adopt her. And then later, her brother. And then to have my other babies. That's service. That's what my life's about right there. Oh, praise God. So, thank you. I know, again, you're not clapping for me. That, my dear friends, that's what service looks like. Ask yourself, what does it look like in my own life? This is a mirror point. What are you drawn to? It doesn't have to be adoption. It doesn't have to be going to Africa to dig wells for water. It might be as simple as coaching somebody or giving mentorship to somebody in need. It might be digging in and being a little bit better a manager for the agents under you. How do you serve others? Because that's going to steer your life one way or the other. What is your focus? You tell me what you pay attention to, and I'll literally tell you who you are. Your focus dictates your entire life. Like I said, I wish I had more time to get deeper, but at least I give you the core pieces to work with. These are the 7 secrets of success. Your foundation pillars of vision and voice, and your steering wheel in that gorgeous instrument that is your life, that machine of speed and precision, being steered by your focus, faith, order, choice, unique skill set, and service, resting on the voice and the vision. I'm about to do a final reminder that this love story is not the crazy Jason Black story. It's your story. This is your own story of vision and victory. Amen. When you have all of these pieces in place, Guy's right, there's nothing new under the sun. That's also from my favorite book. You know most of this, but hopefully this has given you the pieces to actuate it in your own life. I get to raise those beautiful children. And I teach them a lot of very simple things because they are like sponges. They take it in twice as fast as any adult. One of the things I taught them is, we don't say can't. We say help me or I'll try, right? We don't allow our children to say cannot. Because saya bisa, I can. You can. That's right, bisa. Bisa. Saya bisa, that's right, I can. Here's the thing. My son, I didn't get to adopt him until he was 8. And he'd had a very difficult life. He'd had so many things happen to him that were not his fault, but set him at a disadvantage. And he just has such a strong heart, such a pure heart of love. You could have seen his smile. He's the oldest one holding the baby on the bed. He just has such a smile that he glows. But he'd learned a lot of bad things. His team voice had taught him lies. And so he'd learned to give up. He'd learned that if it was too hard, he'd just stop and do something else. Or he'd redirect the conversation away from his point of failure. I think the single best thing that I thought I taught him, but that he's taught me, after being reassigned to 10 different foster homes, after being abandoned at the age of 3, wandering the streets alone. I didn't teach him. He taught me. The only way you can lose is if you give up. You have not lost until you give up. Vince Lombardi said, one of the idealistically, he's iconic as a coach. And he said, my team has never lost. We've just been a little behind when they stopped the game. The only way you can lose is if you give up. So I encourage you, turn it around. What's the other way to look at this? If I don't give up, I must win. My favorite book says, do not grow weary while doing good. For in due season, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. If you do not give up, you must always say, saya bisa, I can. Bisa? Bisa? I can. Saya bisa. I will never give up. Winston Churchill, a legend in saving, arguably, freedom, liberty. He said, we will never give up. We will never give up. We will never surrender. Because he understood. The only way you lose is if you give up. Never say die. Never say die. This song is not Jason Black's song. You're going to hear my story, but you're going to remember this is your story. This should become your theme. This is your anthem of victory. This is your vision, actuated by your voice, steered by your focus, onto your perfect calling to make a difference for the world. If you never say die, this is your song. Think about it. Where have I believed the lies? Where am I living too small? Where am I believing the facts instead of the truth about who I am? How can I own it if I never say die? Thunder rolls and crashes, time stands at a still. Dreams and lightning cracks, pain flashes, jaws cut in. I'm free again. Every heartache, every trial, every step of my endless mile. When I stumble, when I fall, you taught me through it all. Never say die. A night so cries, so cold, barely breathing. I hold on to life an open night. Every heartache, every trial, every step of my endless mile. When I stumble, when I fall, you taught me through it all. Never say die. Your song. Sing it with me. Every heartache, every trial, every step of my endless mile. When I stumble, when I fall, you taught me through it all. Every corner, every bend, my last hope, my only friend. Still you hold me close and bend. I fall 7 times, but again I rise. You taught me never say die. This is you. I told you it's not my story. It's not my song. It's not my voice. It's yours. Thank you. I want you to now believe in yourselves. Can I do this? Can I be all that I have been called to be? Can I? Bisa. 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 Saya bisa. I love you, and I am honored to serve.